Kat Timpf. Welcome to a special edition of Gutfeld. Greg's off to focus on his new moisturizing routine. Meghan Markle is reportedly in a, quote, professional separation from husband Prince Harry, which is weird considering neither of them have jobs. Researchers say severe COVID infection can actually stop cancer from spreading. Then again, so does a fiery car crash. Thank you. Thank you. The FDA says it discovered bacteria and a mold-like substance at a Tom's of Maine natural toothpaste facility. Experts were tipped off by the fact that it no longer tasted like butt. British Airways unveiled its new first-class suite designed to provide a modern luxury hotel feel. The bad news, you're still surrounded by British people. And experts say going on a fart walk after dinner can help reduce bloating and even help prevent diabetes. Of course, for some people, every walk is a fart walk. Yeah, take that. All right, let's do the monologue, baby. Woo. So, there are reminders of the human stuff in life all around us every day if we look. Like yesterday, when I fell outside of work. Now, this is New York City, so no one cared. Actually, I'm surprised no one peed on me. But I did have to go to the hospital to make sure everything with the baby was okay, which thankfully it is, although the doctor did diagnose me as Macaulay Culkin. Anyway, it was scary for a bit, and that's the stuff that I'm talking about when I say human stuff. The moments when you realize what really matters. And I do think we should talk about this because we're just 2 days from Thanksgiving, and there's a lot of people who are apparently not celebrating it because of politics. According to a new survey, 64% of Americans said that election-related stress is affecting their holiday plans, and almost a quarter of them are considering skipping Thanksgiving altogether. I know. And another survey found that a third of adults who are younger than 30 said they're likely to get into an argument about politics. So, as the person who literally wrote the book on this, I thought I'd offer some advice. First of all, if you are one of those people who is thinking about either skipping Thanksgiving or ruining it, it's time for you to look at yourself. Because research actually shows that moral outrage is more often rooted in self-interest than it is in altruism. So raging at someone else lets you feel less guilty about how you might be contributing to society's problems without having to actually do anything to solve them. It's why your cousin with the blue hair and several warrants is often with the one with the loudest opinions. Other than your uncle with no hair and even more warrants. I know it can be hard to hear, but you aren't doing any good by screaming at your grandma about the election while you're eating the pie she made you. Plus, a lot of the time, our hatred of other people is really rooted in misunderstanding. There's also research that shows there's a perception gap that hugely overestimates the number of people in the other party who actually hold so-called extreme views. So, if you do end up in one of those touchy conversations, approach it with curiosity instead of with judgment, because there's something you can learn from even your craziest family member. No better way to learn how to hide from the law than from someone who's been there. Speaking of unspeakable criminal acts, it could be helpful to focus on stuff that's less sensitive than the election. Stuff like the Menendez brothers, or how your aunt seems to be handling menopause so far. Try to focus on what you have in common, you know, that human stuff, or the stuff that is so obvious you know you won't get any disagreement. Stuff like, Kat Timpf is an Ohio 6 without makeup and hair extensions. Or Joe Mackey got snubbed for Beefcake of the Year. Again. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Politics makes us fight with people we actually know on behalf of politicians who don't even know we exist. So don't do that, okay, guys? Time with family is way too precious, so just do your best to have fun, get along, and if you're gonna fight with your family, at least make it memorable. slap your drunk uncle in the face with a piece of ham. Your mom won't like it, but it'll be a great story for next year. World star. Let's welcome tonight's guest. If he's the man of your dreams, someone spiked your drink. It's comedian Jim Norton. He talks a mile a minute but never gets a ticket. Co-host of Outnumbered and author of the new book Under His Wings, Emily Campagno. His new baby has his mother's eyes and, unfortunately, his father's voice. Comedian and founder of Western Razor Company, David Angelo. When the turkey sees him, it just starts carving itself. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, former NWA world champion, Tyrus. All right. Emily, what do you and your family talk about Thanksgiving? You seem like very normal, you know? So what is your normal Thanksgiving like?
Well, I feel like all of the strife that we see is a luxury. If you hear about someone under 30 that wants to argue politics, that means that they probably were not raised with the kinds of morals of everything that you just said, which is your family time is priceless. Your time with your loved ones is precious. If your grandmother's cooking for you, that is a gift and a blessing. So if someone has the audacity to throw it all away over something they think that they have insight into, then they're spoiled, and that's a luxury. So I grew up in a family where we had dinners together every night, and that's a blessing that I am grateful for, and I wouldn't throw any of that away. I mean, for something so divisive as politics. And I don't bring up something that I know someone feels differently about. That's the thing, because the reality is there's so much more that does unite us. And while that sounds probably kind of cheesy, the thing is that it's true. And I remember back semi-recently when the biggest thing that would divide us is sports.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, don't bring up the game, don't bring up this. But it was still all in fun. That was still enjoyable. You could still throw a turkey leg and not actually be upset about it if your team lost. And I think now hearing that people really aren't speaking to others because of this and their family. I've had friends that stopped talking to me after this election. I had nothing to do with it, but that's a reflection of them. And every day that we're not speaking, that's a lost moment for them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sadly.
Yeah.
I think you're right, Steph. And you know what? Jim, I'm glad you're here because you've ruined many Thanksgivings, but never because of politics.
No, it's just me showing up alive. And they realize they have nothing to be thankful for.
No. What are your thoughts on this?
I tend to not like these type of conversations. Like in our family, what we'll do is if it starts to get heated, I bring it to something that I know that everybody agrees on. It's just easier. Like in my family, it's Hitler's paintings. Like, we agree that he was a terrible person, but his landscapes move us to tears. Find something that's not divisive. I mean, who would start? The best thing to do is if you're arguing with somebody and they get a little drunk, purposefully let them win the argument, and then as soon as they leave, call the police and have them arrested for DUI.
Nerd.
So playing the long game.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like, you win, and then you know they're gonna die in jail.
Tyrus, now you're a member of a lot of families, right? So you might have some.
I have DNA spread in several families.
Right. So you might have some unique insight to provide here because logistically, you know.
I usually just turn my phone off.
Oh, okay.
Listen, Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday.
Right.
Okay, and it's the one holiday that makes me laugh when I heard people can't get along during Thanksgiving. If the Native Americans can have a good Thanksgiving, I think anyone can. I mean, let's be honest. They started Thanksgiving by helping out the people who were going to move them out, and they still celebrate Thanksgiving. So unless you've been kicked off your land and given smallpox the previous Thanksgiving, shut up and eat the cranberry sauce and move on. Like it's just this fake first world stuff. Yeah, I've never been in a Thanksgiving dinner where someone talked about politics unless the food sucked. because usually you're thanking everybody for, oh, what did you bring? And this is delicious. And if there's a lot of talking, that means the food's not good. In my house, it's just the sound of chewing. That's it. That's all you're hearing. The only thing you should hear is silverware and knives cutting on the plates and hearing me say, more of that. And that's it. And then complaining about where's the canned cranberry. I don't care about the homemade cranberry.
Oh, yes.
I like my cranberry in the cans.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
And that's the biggest issue allowed at the table. Is it homemade cranberry or canned? And you know what? I'm willing to put both on my plate because I'm just that nice.
Or if somebody starts raging out at your Thanksgiving, just go, okay, and then move on. You know, they want you to get mad back. Don't let them ruin.
Luckily for me, usually they're more mad about the big black guy who knocked up their daughter opposed to political violence. You know what I'm saying? So don't get a whole lot of politics in the house, being like, oh, you guys eat that? I didn't know that. Like,
No. Yeah.
bunch of white dads in the crowd like, yeah, I'd prefer politics.
David, I can't actually imagine you arguing.
Yeah, I stay back. I mean, I come from an Italian-American family, so the idea that a dinner doesn't have a screaming argument in it is alien to me. That's the part where like people calmly eat at dinner. Is that what America does? I say go in guns blazing. Just do the politics right out the gate. They're like, hey, can you pass me some of Joe Biden's brains? I mean, mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes. I mean, imagine you think it's bad at your house. Imagine Puff Daddies this year. They're going around the table like, so how about this election, huh?
Who's going to stuff the turkey this year?
How about this election? That actually would be in their house akin to talking about the weather at another house, probably. Oh, man. Yeah, see, if you get into, just think of what it's like at Diddy's house. Oh, that's got to be rough. All right, well, before we go, there are just a few more chances to see me on tour before I take a break to be home with the baby that's going to come out of me. I will be in Spokane, Washington on Saturday, December 8th, and then I'm going to be in Naples, Florida the weekend after that. We just added a fourth show because the first three sold out, so hurry and get your tickets now at therealkattimpf.com, okay?
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.